Gentlemen, please stay till the end, as I don't want to ruin the flow nor the tempo of this video, so I'm going to hold off on how to get a hold of me till the very end. This video is dedicated to those men who lost their identity, or at least they think that they've lost it because of a divorce. To those questioning their purpose, who have to ask themselves, what now? Things change so quickly. 1 minute, you're a family man, you're the provider, you put food and clothes on the back of your family, but now it's all gone. It was just a mirage. Who are you? What will become of you? And you want to work on yourself? By the end of this video, I hope to give you at least some framework as to how you can begin to grow into a much better person than you are today. So how do you go about improving yourself? Well, let's discuss. And let's start revving that engine. When we hit rock bottom, we do one of two things. We either keep digging, or we analyze the situation and swear that we're going to work on ourselves and become the best version of ourselves. But what is the best version of you, and what do you need to be your best version? What standards are you using to measure your best? Does the best version of you mean the boldest, strongest, kindest, funniest, most intelligent, most witty, most compassionate, most badass version? Are you a badass? What defines a badass? Take a step back and analyze, because to be the best, you're going to have to start by breaking some rules that you think are your own until you realize that they were decided for you and not by you. A year ago, I released a video about men in their search for their existence. In a survey in my divorced men's group on Facebook, 96% of men had an existential crisis. Contrary to popular belief, men identify themselves more as a spouse than women do. Things have changed, gents. Women have progressed. They've fought for it, and they're making their mark in their existence. Ever since Innovid, the first birth control that came out in 1960, 62 years ago, women have begun giving the bird to the status quo. They become part of our workforce, and they're a force to reckon with. Today, over 50% of medical students are women. That shit you were fed about women's identity being a wife and a mom, it's all bullshit. Kids and career first, then you. We have it all wrong, fellas. So, they dump our ass, and we come to realize that crap, we've been bamboozled. All this time, it's been us identifying ourselves way more as a spouse than they ever did. You know what I find interesting? That as I'm writing this script, and I'm reading it to my significant other, she wholeheartedly agrees. Good news for women is that they've progressed, but the tragic news is that for men, well, we've lagged behind. Now you find yourself divorced, and you have choices. You can swear off women. You can join men going their own way, MGTOW. You can play mind games by joining the red pill movement. But here's a radical thought. You can grow and become a better version of you. The choice is yours, and only yours to make. As we hit middle age, we realize that we've lived by someone else's rules. We inevitably question our purpose in life and realize that we've wasted much of our time trying to make others happy. I'm going to throw some numbers out there. And the average American, we live 27,375 days. If you're 40 years old, you've lived 14,600 days so far. 53% of your life has come and gone. So here's the question. Of the thousands of days that you've been alive, how many have been about your growth, about your development? How many have been about you being happy? Your ex, good or bad, she made her decision to leave. She discovered that as humans, we have a tremendously scary amount of options to choose from in our life. And we get to choose them, not others. And we can't fault them for that. So now we question things. We learn that life's not fair, and often we let the courts decide our fate as parents, leaving us further to lose any control and feeling worthless, questioning why, just why we're here. Hence existentialism, or the philosophy that we determine our fate, that we're born with a blank slate. An existentialist motto is that existence, it precedes essence. And prior to the 1900s, we didn't question our existence or the purpose for living. If you question your purpose, that was anti-Christian. God himself, he gave you a purpose. And that was the belief for over 2 millennials. And we accepted our fate. Essentialist, as it's called, is the belief that we're predetermined to become who we are. Why are you in jail? That put me there. Why are you a billionaire? God made me one. The common saying is, it is what it is. You accept things like the good stoic you are. Then came the German philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche. He challenged this notion with nihilism. Now, in a twist of fate, he didn't argue that we determine the meaning of life, but actually the contrary. Nietzsche, he argued that there's absolutely no point to life, that the life had no meaning at all. Now that seems a little defeatist, but he also did argue for the Übermensch. Über as in above and Mensch as in man, or to paraphrase, the superhuman. 4 years of German, and that's the only time I get to use these two German words. Now bear with me, because I remember reading this and I internally rolled my eyes. But it does make sense. And I'll substitute the word society instead of religion, because in today's era it can be used both ways. In his book, Thus Spoke the Zarathustra Nietzsche, he argues that our values come from society rather than from us. And I hear the guys that I coach say this all the time. Now, guys I coach, they're going to say something like, it's just not in me. But to an existentialist, we would say that they're acting in bad faith. And I'll get to the concept of bad faith later. Nietzsche, he argues for the free spirit, that I don't give a fuck attitude. But to get there, you're going to have to go through a metamorphosis. From man to camel. See, this is the part where I start rolling my eyes. Camel to lion. And finally, from lion to child. Stay with me here. Nietzsche, he wrote that it's society holding us back from becoming a better version of ourselves. You know, those self-righteous, holier-than-thou haters that offend or get offended easily, either because they don't have the testes to think for themselves of original thought. And if you're one of them, please don't ever, ever impede someone else's dreams. That's just morally criminal. Usually we listen to these y'all because it's convenient, but not because they're right. And that's why I'm not a communist. Conformity is my enemy. According to Nietzsche, the Übermensch, he moved beyond the concept of good versus evil, only to obey the laws that he gives himself. And that, he argues, is the goal of us as humans, to become the Übermensch. In a nutshell, if you say you shouldn't do something before you think you shouldn't, you ask yourself why and what's holding you back. Really, why not? So we metaphorically begin as the camel. The camel is a servant carrying the heavy burden that society places on us. And it takes a lot of shit from people as it goes through the journey in search for self-realization. Basically your apprenticeship. You're still learning the ropes, like thou shalt not this, thou shalt not that, thou shalt not X, Y, Z, blah, blah, blah. It's your journey of self-realization in order to grow and to live. Most of us, we spend our entire life being told what to do by others, and we spent most of our life repressed by your environment. But it was our Tibetan friend, the Dalai Lama, who said that we must learn the rules in order to break them properly. And that's when change happens, from camel to lion. And we all grow, and that's the beauty of life. The role of the lion is to fight and to protect what you learned as a camel. And now this can be very fun because you begin making your own rules. Now Nietzsche, he would say that the lion fights against society and society pushes back at the lion. And these rules that initially molded you, they're now hindering you. But I would argue differently. I would say that you're fighting against yourself, because who said that you cannot do X, Y, or Z? You got to hold yourself accountable here. We have to become vulnerable to change. And I don't know about you, but vulnerability is sexy. It's that first guy on the moon. It's that guy willing to say that he had a hair transplant. It's you getting out of your fucking comfort zone, knowing fully well that others will not approve, and being okay with it. The lion, he fights the status quo, suffocating our growth, and carves out a safe place, a place away from where society can deeply hurt our way of thinking through words, or worse, through pain. So in the spirit of the lion, it asserts its I will against society's, and yours for that matter, thou shalt. You followed the rules, did the grunt work, but now, metaphorically speaking, it's time to grow your own opinion, your own voice, and your own balls. Because let's be honest here, you've been wanting them back for a while. But you as the lion, you're merely the go-between, with its work done in a safe place, all carved out, shelter from the status quo that you made for yourself. The lion can now become the child. The creation of new values, standards, and dreams that you once thought that were unattainable. The child is I tell this to all my clients, it's a green canvas with a frame around it. The frame represents your established values, and the canvas, your life. What will you make of it? What are you willing to give up in order to create your life? Write this shit down. What rules are you willing to break? And don't do it for your kids. Do it for yourself. Become their example and not their excuse. Well, begin your journey by recognizing the limitations you or society put on yourself. What are you willing to do about it? Because you must make your mark on society. The average American lives for 27,375 days. If you're 40, you've lived 14,600 of them, or 53% of your life is done. Days that you'll never, ever get back. Your ex, she made her choice and she left you without a choice, but you now have the framework to live your life. How do you want to be remembered? And be specific. What empire do you want to build? I said this before, that as adults, the fastest way for us to learn is through massive trauma. And by definition, what you're going through is definitely massive trauma. According to Nietzsche, the human, in order to become the Übermensch, he also has to undergo some traumatic experiences. And I'm not saying that I'm an Übermensch by any means. There's still quite a bit of growth for me. But I tell you this, after my divorce, I'm undoubtedly some kind of badass. Use this time to become your Übermensch. Think about what you've learned so far. Perhaps you've learned that life isn't fair. That you can be the bestest motherfucking husband and still get cheated on or abandoned. But you're also in good company because you also learned that you're resilient and that you can bounce back from anything. And if you don't know that now or today, you will by the end of this process. I brought up earlier how existence precedes essence. This was a coined term by Jean-Paul Sartre, meaning that we make our mark in life first, and that's what will define us. Sartre, he taught us that it's up to us to make shit happen, that when we say that it's not in us, that we're just acting in bad faith, that we don't believe we could become better or more. To limit ourselves, well, that's just not good faith. Now, we've all met the excuse maker. I meet at least 2 of them weekly. The guy that will make the free one-on-one with me, be drunk while they're talking to me. We talk over his problems, propose a solution, plan the whole yard, and never to hear from him again. He's the guy that all the bad shit happens to, the victim of his life. He's his own victim. But for every 2 of them that I meet, I also meet an unbelievable amount of resilient men who want to make their mark in this world and not let shit bring them down. Guys that have become role models to me, guys that have made a mark in their own world. French philosopher Sartre, he challenged the status quo. As an existentialist, he brought up how in life we have options, a tremendous amount of options. Options that can actually be terrifying. Your ex, in her desperate search to live a better, more meaningful life, she made one of those terrifying options by moving on. She tried testing her existence in life, all without you. And that's the fucked up part, that she made this decision unilaterally. Rather than making it the 2 of you as a power couple, bringing you both up together, she decided that she wanted to make her mark and her existence alone. I wouldn't try to get her back. Instead, I just feel sorry for her. She lacked the leadership to move the 2 of you forward in life, and that's selfishness at its core, and she cannot be in a good place in life. And if she's suing your ass for alimony and your retirement, just tell her how sad you feel for her, because she needs your money so bad that she's taking someone that had the best of intentions, that loved her, and she reciprocated by taking you to court. Someone that doesn't deserve to be paying for her existence in life, and as if she was a child going through college. Instead, pity her, because while legally she has every right to her hard-earned money that she's been planning for years, she's morally bankrupt. And that's what I tell my clients, that she may have your money, but with karma, you have her soul. You, on the other hand, you can hold your head up high with pride. Now, you have your option on how you wish to live. You were once a CEO of a family, but there's a shift in corporate structure, and it's just gotten smaller. In keeping up with the CEO analogy, you don't have to go through a large corporate bureaucracy for change anymore. Your corporation has slimmed down, you cut the grease, and now you can make decisions without having to go through that long corporate bullshit. Make your own mark on the world, gents. Think of people that you admire and ask why you admire them, and commit to growing from them as an example. It's not only perfectly fine to get ideas from others, it's expected, because doing it any other way is just incredibly inefficient. Watch how-to YouTube videos. It's 3 a.m. and you can't sleep? Who says that you can't go to the gym? Dress 1 grade better than your average man. Start by saying no to others, remembering that when you say yes to something, you're always saying no to something else, even if it's your own sanity. Wake up 1 hour earlier, take cold showers, learn to sew. Yes, I said learn to sew. Go out in the rain, meditate, document your life, make YouTube videos, learn photography. Start kicking your own ass with your kids. Go on a search for the perfect tan. Study philosophy. Work on your communication skills. Lernen eine andere Sprache zu sprechen und zu suchen. There's so fucking much. 9,129 days. That's how many days I'm expected to have left by the time that this video is out. And I hope to squeeze the life out of every one of them. I have my regrets, but the older I get, the more I realize that I have to let shit go. And if I don't, I'll end up with more regrets than I do satisfaction. And that's just a shitty way to live and to die. As I continue this journey, there's so much more I need to accomplish. It's no longer to have a better body or more hair. My body peaked, but I still look damn good without a shirt. And dang, maybe a little more hair. But as I enter the use of old age, in a perfect world, I'd like to have my children, their spouse, and their children come visit me at my beach home in Nicaragua, to have taught them to make such good decisions that they'd never have to worry about a divorce. I'd like to change the lives of men, even if just a little bit, to have them realize that their world got a little easier, to hit 1 million subscribers, to live free of illness that affect both my mind and body, to make men's divorce coaching or medical the gold standard for making better men across the globe, to inspire Generation Zs and Alphas to become better men, to be ahead of my time, to be more fucking efficient, and yes, even to be validated. You know, there is one more thing that I would like to have and I hope to be able to accomplish, but for this I'm gonna need a little more time. I often talk of divorce and address it as the third biggest stressor adults undergo, and I never talk of the first two. The first one, it surprised me because, well, we can all imagine what it is. It's the first biggest stressor, but it's not that. I hope and I pray that I am one of the fortunate ones that undergo the biggest stressor in an adult's life. Perhaps your parents or your grandparents had it. You know what it is? It's to lose the love of your life in old age. Thank you very much. Man, I hope you gained something from this. Hey, here's some very extremely important information because you already did the passive learning and now it's time to take it into action. If you're going through a divorce, you can join our family through our free and confidential Facebook group. And what's stopping you from making a one-on-one with me? You don't want to go through this alone. And if you do, there are so many mistakes that you can make, costly ones, both financially and emotionally. The link to both the Facebook group and to make your one-on-one, they're both in the comment section underneath. Well, at it. Hey, you've been listening to my ass for what, 17 minutes or so? That means it must have made some kind of sense. I get a lot of DMs from you guys thanking me about the videos, and I appreciate them all, but you really want to thank me. Pay it forward by pressing like and subscribing to the channel. And make this number right here 5,000. I'm challenging myself to hit 5K by the end of the year, and I can only do it with your support. Now, make your appointment today. Thank you very much.